Okay, so it's 4 a.m. and I'm lying in bed and I'm wide awake. I'm binge watching Mindy Kaling's limited series, Four Weddings and a Funeral, on my phone, which is why I'm wide awake, probably. And then I hear a clang, and it's the sound of a metal can hitting the building, followed by someone yelling, "Run!" And the first thought I have is, it's the bar downstairs, bar prime time, letting out as usual. And then I remember that it's the 28th of December, 2021. We're in the thick of lockdown. Bars are not open. And so I'm like, okay, there's no way. And before I have time to think, I see this muted yellow glow through my curtain. And I'm like, oh my God, there's no way there's a fire. This is the Mile End. Nothing ever happens here. It's this quaint, perfect, sweet, cute neighborhood of boutiques and cafes. What? So I get up to inspect, and I pull back the curtain, I look down, and sure enough, it's a fire. So as I'm dialing 911, I look over, and that glow has become bigger and brighter and taller. And hello, 911? There's a fire next door. Well, I have to evacuate? It's next. Okay, so I hang up. It's the middle of winter. I'm wearing a muumuu. I've not shaved my facial stubble in days because I didn't anticipate seeing another person and I wanted to wait for a clean shave. But I guess now we have to evacuate. Okay, and suddenly everything turns fast and slow at the same time. First things first, I have to grab my cat. He jumps into his cat carrier within 30 seconds. His personal record is a 20-minute chase around the apartment, so this is a miracle. Okay, I have time to put on pants and a sweater. I look over, and it's 4:08 a.m., and smoke has started to enter my bedroom through the baseboards and the gaps in the wall. But I am unusually calm. I am not good in a crisis. I have to tell people I am, but I am not good in a crisis. Ask anybody. But I'm walking through my apartment as if I'm going on vacation, and I'm looking for things to take with me. I don't know, do you travel light? Like, what would you take in a fire? Smoke is still just wasping around me everywhere. And I look over and I'm like, passport and laptop. Okay, I'll grab those. So I put that in a backpack. And then I hear sirens. And so I run to the window and I yell. I'm like, how do I get out? And the cop downstairs yells. He's like, you need to leave. Get to the fire escape. Fire escape? What fire escape? I don't have a fire escape, which is illegal, but it's never been an issue because there wasn't a fire. And my neighbors are on vacation, on Christmas vacation, so I can't even use their fire escape. So I have to go through the front door. So I decided I will not take the laptop and the passport. I'm going to put that on the coffee table neatly. And I put on my coat. I pick up the cat carrier. I take one final sort of look around. I switch off all the lights. I lock my door like a sensible person. I am still not panicking. It's fine. I get to the stairwell, and it's this giant, gray, thick wall of smoke. And thankfully, I've lived in this building for 8 years, so I know that staircase like the back of my hand. But going through that wall, I have never been more aware of oxygen in my life. My cat is screaming. My cat never screams. I'm holding onto the banister, and I'm trying to feel for the door or the doorknob, and it's the longest 12 seconds of my life. And I finally feel something. I push open the door, I take a gasp of air, and I just run across the street because I don't know where else to go. And for the next hour, I'm just standing outside the building, just watching this whole thing happen. And I take out my phone and I start documenting it. There's at least 3 or 4 fire trucks and probably about 80 firefighters. And at some point, they're going in and out of the building, and some of them are hanging on the side, and the hoses are just coming out one after the other. And at some point, I see this giant silhouette of a fireman go into my apartment with an axe. And my first actual thought is, this fucker broke my lock, and now he's gonna steal my laptop and my passport, which I just left for him on the coffee table. And then after what feels like hours, I'm allowed back in. My apartment looks untouched. Nothing's changed, but it smells like hot dogs. And my eyes are burning. It could be because of the smoke and the fiberglass, but I've also not slept in 24 hours. And then I'm suddenly told I can't stay here because the air is not safe. What? What do you mean I can't stay here? Where am I gonna go? I don't have renter's insurance. I don't have a backup plan. All my close friends are out of town. I don't even have family here. What do you mean I have to leave? It's the dead zone liminal space between Christmas and New Year's when the whole city is offline. What am I supposed to do? And it's at that moment that there's something in me that knows but doesn't want to accept that this is not just a temporary evacuation. This is the final time I will ever live in this apartment. And I didn't even get a good night's sleep. 8 years gone just like that. This apartment wasn't just 4 walls for me. This was the one constant in my life. I spent most of my 20s here. It was the incubator for me growing into the woman that I am and the creator that I am and the person that I am. And all my projects got birthed here. I wrote so many comedies in this apartment. I wrote so many plays. I booked my first role with a self-tape in this apartment against that wall. I had people over. I made dinners here. I tried new recipes. It's like my cat sunbathes in that corner. And I have the best sunset view across all windows. Plus, it's like walking distance to everything in my land. And the bus stops right outside. What do you mean I have to leave? Where am I supposed to go? For some people, home is a parent, it's a community, it's a partner, it's an experience. For me, it's the 4 walls. Even as a kid, I grew up in the same house that my mom grew up in Kenya since the 1970s. She's there right now. We have not let go of this house. A home is a permanent thing. That house in Nairobi has been the one anchor for every experience for every single member of my family for the past 5 decades. You don't move. The only time I actually ever moved for the first time was when I moved to Canada. And this apartment is my anchor. This apartment is my safe space. And it's an extension of who I am as a person. Because over these years, I have slowly and intentionally curated every single thing in that place. From the artwork to the clutter to I had this obsession with this IKEA Soderham couch, and I saved up for it so much, and I found it on Marketplace, and it was orange, and it was bright. What do you mean I can't stay here? I don't know where else to go. And it's this irrational fear that I have. I have 2 irrational fears. One is breaking a bone, and the other one is being homeless. And I am now homeless. And it's a strange kind of grief that sets in when you're standing in the place that you realize you have nurtured for all these years, and it's just died, and that you will never actually get to experience it again because it's soaked in smoke. And then to add to this spiral, I hate the holidays. I'm a Scrooge. I love my alone time, and I love being by myself generally throughout the year. I love the independence and the space and just having my own energy. But specifically when it's the holiday season, being alone becomes isolation, not solitude. Because I'm hyper aware that this is a time of year where everyone is gathering together to celebrate and think about another person, and everyone is reuniting with their loved ones, and I don't have any of that. And so I'm sitting in this apartment and I'm looking around at all the remains, and I don't think I have ever felt more alone than in that moment. And it's that point in this whole experience when you have that moment of reckoning, when you start to question your mortality and your connections and your impact, and all those questions come flooding in. Who's going to care if something happened? What if my apartment was on fire? Who would find my body? Who would identify my body? Who's going to call my mom? Who's going to plan my funeral, and who's going to say the eulogy? Who the hell sent me evil eye? And the cherry on all this, again, I don't know what the hell is happening. Within the 2-week window that I lost my apartment, I also lost 3 jobs that I was very well into the pipeline for getting. One of them ghosted me, one of them rejected me, and the other one sent me a hiring freeze about 4 days after the fire. So I have nothing. So I have no choice but to ask for help, which is terrifying because I don't know about you, but for me, help has always felt conditional or transactional. Like people are going to want something back in return, whether it's my time or my energy or something physical, and I have nothing to give. But it's also not a time of shame. Like we are in survival. So once again, I turn to my Instagram stories and I write, hey, I need a place to stay. I can't go home. I have a cat. And the funny thing about crisis is that Help comes, but it doesn't come from the people you expect. In my case, it came from acquaintances, it came from former students, it came from friends of friends and complete strangers. I had to spend New Year's alone in this shady, staged apartment in the East End without any internet. That was horrible. But then later, there was a friends of strangers housed me for days at a time, and then they helped me pack up my apartment and schlep all my stuff from place to place as I was bouncing around. I had someone take me and my cat to the vet. I had someone bring me food. My agent lent me an air mattress because I didn't have a bed or a couch. I even got some help with a GoFundMe. And the whole time this was happening, I was in full surrender. And I remember this quote that said, "God saw who was around you, so he sent you strangers." And I was like, yeah, that's what it felt like. That people do care and people will help, and you did and you do make an impact. It's just none of this happens in the way that you think. And then the final miracle happened at the 59th second of the 59th minute of that 11th hour, when my Instagram story was about to expire. And a former student messaged me and offers me his apartment for 1 month while he's away in Chile, conveniently. So my cat and I move in to his living room with all my stuff. His bedroom was close to his neighbor snores. I'm like, I can't stay there. And I basically spend my time just apartment hunting and job hunting. And after 2 months of bopping around and stressing, I land a job. I take that offer letter to the apartment viewing the next day, and I just take whatever apartment I can get. The only problem is I didn't manifest this apartment. It found me. I called in my old apartment. Like, I fully just vision boarded it, and oh my God. This one felt like a landing pad. And so I only unpacked half my boxes. I didn't put anything on the walls, I left them bare. And I didn't really make good use of the space or the corners because I'm on my mind. I'm like, I'm leaving any minute. I'm gonna find a place of my choosing and I'm gonna go. Until this year. 3 years after moving in July, I finally unpacked my boxes. I finally hang up some frames, which is the bare minimum, but at least I'm giving some meaning to the walls. And then I even got some flower pots and put them on my balcony, and I started having breakfast outdoors, al fresco, every day. And then it hits me. I finally feel like I'm home again. Thank you.